Hey guys, there's been a lot of interest in my Expedition 1 dual swing bumper, and I've had it on the vehicle for a year, and I just wanted to give you some pros and cons, things that I like, dislike, whatever. So hopefully those of you that are interested in the Expedition 1 dual swing bumper will find this of interest. Okay, so I've done a initial review of my Expedition 1 dual swing bumper on my Gladiator, and I've had this on here for a year, and I just wanted to do a quick review of what I think about it after a year of usage. So there's a lot of goodness to it, in my opinion, and there's a few, minor negatives to it. So we'll kind of go through all those things, right? So I think one of the huge advantages, at least for me with this, with my setup, I cannot put a spare tire in there without it rubbing at the 37-inch size. So I rigged something to carry it inside the bed, but it took up too much space. I had it connected up on the top of the rack there with a trailer spare tire winch system, and it actually worked really well, but I couldn't use my table mounts there, and I always take my table with me. It was a lot of weight up a little bit higher, so there were some disadvantages to it. So I decided that I wanted an alternative solution, and this is the one that I chose. Now, these things are pricey. They're not cheap at all. And when I bought it last year, supply chain was really having issues, which I guess it still is. And I did have to wait quite a while to get it, but it was worth the wait. So overall, what do I like about it? I love the cutouts for the lights. These lights work really well. I've got them connected for backup lights. When I throw it in reverse, those come on, and they're super bright, really lighten the path up and allow me to really see clearly. So I like the cutouts. The mounts for the hooks, I love those. I got special hooks that have a locking mechanism. So on this other side, they have a locking mechanism, so they won't fall off. Same with this. And I really like that. It's good, solid. It's a lot better than the standard hooks that came on the Jeep, because the open hooks are not a secure method of attaching a recovery strap. So this is, and I absolutely adore it. They work great. So I love that part of it. It's a very heavy bumper, maybe a little bit of a negative, but one of the great things is it comes over here on the sides, and it provides a really good rock bar. So the Gladiator came, it was a Rubicon, so it came with all of the rock slides. I have replaced them all. It matches really well with my step sliders, I think, but it gives really good coverage. It's up tight to the Jeep, and it provides really good protection for the side of the Jeep when I'm out wheeling. And I think that's probably one of the features that I think I like the most. There are other bumpers out there. There's other ways to go with a spare tire mount, a lot of them lighter. As I said, that is a disadvantage, but not many of them that I am aware of have that level of protection provided. So I think it's fantastic. It incorporates with your backup camera. It does hold the license plate. Kind of interesting getting it in there, but it is. Go back and look at the initial review if you want to look at more. It incorporates the trailer wiring, and I have used that. I hauled a U-Haul trailer a number of times when I was moving, and so the trailer wiring works. It has the backup sensors. Those work. It's got lights for the license plate. Those work. So overall, it's pretty nice. And it gets my stuff up out of the way. So disadvantages: the high lift jack mount is nice. Obviously, it holds a high lift jack. It does stand up pretty high. So I have to take that off if I'm going into a parking garage. I can squeak into most parking garages. In DC, it's kind of tough sometimes. Some of the older ones I wouldn't even try. But some of the newer ones I can squeak in. But I went to the Pentagon Mall the other day. I forgot to bring my key with me for this. And so I couldn't take this off, and the parking garage was just high enough, and I scraped the top of that thing pretty bad. I bent these brackets popped it off, broke this connector here, this screw knob, whatever the hell it is. And yeah, I wasn't real happy about it. I was able to get everything bent back into shape. I bought a new knob. The little clip that's on the back here popped off. I have a number of those as spares anyways. So I was able to get everything back in operation. But keep in mind that it does raise, and this is a short high lift. This is only a 36-inch high lift jack. So if you carry a high lift jack, especially if you carry a large one, just keep that in mind. So that's probably a disadvantage, but the system is nice, right? So the only real issue that I've had with it is these latches. When I first got it, these latches are really nice. They very strongly lock in that gate. You cannot get any movement out of that when it's connected. So really nice latches, but I think they're a little bit out of adjustment, which I think this one wiggles a little bit because I don't think it's quite as well adjusted as it was initially when I put it in. So what have happened initially, and this was really bad, the latch would actually come loose. And as I was driving, when I left the property here one day, I looked in my rearview mirror and I could see the tire sticking out the side. And I kind of freaked out, pulled off the side of the road and latched it. And I thought, you know I latched that when I left, but yeah, maybe I didn't, or maybe I didn't latch it, really well. So I latched it down really good, wiggled it around, made sure that it was good and tight, drove down the road, and in a couple of miles, I looked back and it was doing it again. So I had to get out, take a piece of paracord and lash it down so that it wouldn't open. And it happened a couple more times on me. So then I was going to look at the latch. I never did get around to it. And all of a sudden it started doing something completely different. So what it did is it got to the point where I just closed this. You can't get it to release. You have to bang on it. Now, usually doesn't take that much. There it goes. So you bang on it with your hands and then it'll pop up. So it freaked me out the first time because I didn't think I was going to be able to get into it, and I had luggage in the back. But and that's another thing with this thing closed up with the rack on it. It does provide some bed security because there's not a whole lot of ways that you can really get in there, especially for big stuff, and pull anything out. So, but now one of the other issues is this latch. So let me close this. And there you go. You can see there's not a lot of access to the bed with the tire on there. So this latch mechanism, so this lifts up just a little bit so that when it comes through here, that little pin spring loads and it pops into this hole and it prevents it from moving any further out. The issue that I had was it wasn't bent up enough and it wouldn't reliably latch. And I'm still pretty careful about it. Now see, it did catch. But with the way this is designed, if it doesn't latch and it slides past that, it'll continue around. And I don't know if you can see this very well, but I'll see if I can get a good view of it. It dented the side of the Jeep. It just slid into it, and that actually happened in my driveway one day. I was getting into the back of the truck, into the bed, and I opened it up and the latch didn't catch, and my driveway was kind of steep on a downhill slant, and the tire just continued around and the tire banged into the side of the truck. So I got that little souvenir from that. I don't really care much because I abuse the vehicle pretty well anyways, but it is a thing to watch for. So let's get this thing relatched so I don't do it again. All right. What I did is I just grabbed it with a pair of pliers. It pulled up on it really good to bend it a little bit more, and it's been catching pretty well. I don't trust it. I always pay attention to it, but it does pretty well. So I mentioned that you get, obviously, advantage, I can carry a spare tire. Advantage, I've got mount points for. This side can take a come along, or a land anchor rather. And the high lift jack. So that's fantastic. And all this stuff works. All my sensors and everything else. So that's really cool. And it provides that bed protection because all this stuff's in the way. But one of the reasons I bought a Gladiator is for the utility. And day to day, when I want to get into the bed, I have to open this up to gain access to the bed. So minor thing, right? But it after, you know, umpteen times doing that, you get, okay, a little irritated. By the way, it comes with a plug for the hole where the backup camera is stock. So that's a little bit annoying, although for me, I'm willing to put up with that for the other utility that I gain. So one of the issues is when I'm using it for, so I did I did a lot of the moving myself when I moved from my house. And if you want to put something long in the bed that sticks out, normally in a Gladiator, you have the tailgate down and you have stuff sticking out, and you just lash it to make sure it's not going to slide out and secure it, and you can drive that way. I don't really like to, but I've done it a number of times when I had to. With this setup, you can't do that. There's no way. You have to have the bed closed. You can't drive. Well, I'm going to recommend driving with these things open. So that is a negative. I have had a few, not much. The powder coating isn't perfect. I guess, you know, powder coating in my experience really isn't, but I'll get spots like this where it'll flake up. The great thing is I will take that, I'll wire brush it and put some rust absorber or whatever in the world that stuff's called, and then hit it with some spray paint. It'll be, you know, good as new. It doesn't bother me, but if that kind of stuff bothers you, I did have a couple little spots like that that did pop up. But overall, I like the unit. It looks really cool. That's another thing about it. If that matters to you, I guess it sort of matters to me. I mean, the way I built the Jeep in general, I think it looks cool. So this just adds to the cool factor. It's nice, but the functionality is there for carrying the spare, carrying the high lift jack. It works really well. And overall, after a year, I put a lot of highway miles on it. I've driven to Michigan a number of times with this on. I come out here to the property quite a bit. That's a 2-hour drive. I've done a number of 4-wheel drive trips now with this setup, and it works really well. Now, if we do some hardcore wheeling, really hardcore wheeling, like if I go out to Moab, the tire does sit up high, but if I slide off of an obstacle that clears the bumper and it catches that tire, we'll see. This unit's pretty damn strong, so I don't think it's going to pose any major issues, but we'll have to see how that goes. Not sure what else I would do with it. Now, I did look into, I believe I've got a 37-inch tire mounted on that. It looks like I could mount a 40. I don't think it's necessarily recommended by the manufacturer, but it looks like there's enough size to get in there, and it seems sturdy enough. So I'd be willing to give it a shot. But there you go. After over a year of usage of the Expedition 1 dual swing bumper, I give it a thumbs up. So there you go. All right. Later, guys. So guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully some of you found this of value. If you have any questions about the bumper, just comment down below and I'll try to answer any questions that I get. Once again, thanks for watching. Do all the YouTube stuff, like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time.